Hello, everyone. Welcome. Let's give it around 10 minutes and see if more people join, then we can start. Okay, let us start. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for making the time to attend this first lesson and also orientation. First of all, I'd like to check, can everyone hear me? So this is an
Yes, yes.
interactive session. Oh, thank you. So feel free to unmute your mic and perfect. So my name is Ronald Ongori. I'll be your tutor for this subject, which is AI Basics. This is an intro class It takes 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks, there'll be a little examination, and after that, you'll be able to get your certificates. This is an introductory class. We are going to cover some topics that, should you continue to pursue this class, we'll be able to cover more in the more deeper classes, which we call the fundamental classes. Calendar will be shared later on to indicate when we are going to hold these classes. And also, don't be shy. Feel free to unmute whenever you have a question. Feel open to unmute. So up to there, any questions? Okay. So yeah, Soft Uni Kenya. We hold programming classes, which we did at the first half of this year, and AI classes, which we started around July, and we've been doing them since July, and will be offered until December. We are a branch of Soft Uni Global, which is also a body, an educational institution that teaches majorly tech-based courses, including data science, data analysis, and the like, and these are courses that we'll be able to offer in the future, should you express interest in taking them. So for now, we are doing the AI classes, which is, we have the AI basics. First of all, you can see my screen, right?
Yes, I can see.
Okay. So for our first classes, we have the AI basics program, which is this class that we are taking. And after that, we have what we call the AI fundamentals. These classes consist of AI for data analysis, AI for images and video content creation, AI for education and self-education, AI for automation. There's a class for prompt engineering, implementation of AI in businesses, AI for privacy, security, and regulations. So all these classes are in the fundamental group. The AI basics is a free class that we offer. The only thing that you pay for will be a small fee for the examination purposes. And at the end of the exam, should you score 60% and above, there's also a retake. If you don't, you'll be able to get a certificate at the end of this course. And at the end of it, I do encourage you to take more fundamental classes if you want to dive deeper into what AI is and how you can use it in a practical sense. So I believe right now all of you have access to such a platform, and it looks like this. Am I correct in assuming so? And if anyone does not have access to that, kindly let me know. Do you all have access to this?
Yes.
Perfect. So let me take you through how you're going to navigate here. So for number one, you have what is called My Schedule. This shows you what you're supposed to do and when, and the classes that we have. For example, this is an introduction to AI and its AI tools. You can see the time information is, let me just scroll in, 14th of October from 8:30 to 10. And we have the next class on 16th of October. Scroll downwards, 21st to is the next class, so on and so forth. So this is basically a private calendar. At the same time, you have latest resources. This tells you all resources that are already available for you to use that have already been updated. When I click, for example, on the class AI Basics, when you click under resources, you'll be able to see our WhatsApp group. So please join this group. You'll be able to do so by just clicking on join chat, and you'll be able to join the WhatsApp group. You have your Microsoft Teams student guide. This helps you navigate through Microsoft Teams and how to join this class. You also have platform and resource access. Go through this. So this is in the case where you haven't yet, you don't have access to this portal. So after that, if you want to see the resources that we have, so currently we have introduction to AI and its tools, and it tells you what we're going to cover today. So number one, we have the PowerPoint, which we're going to go through together. We have the Teams meeting link, which is this link that you use to join this class. And we have the introduction to AI and tools exercises. So this is something that you're supposed to do during your own time. Don't worry, it is not graded. However, I highly encourage you to try it out. You get to learn so much from this exercise. And should you have any problem, please feel free to interact with us online on WhatsApp, or you can side chat me personally on WhatsApp and I can attend to you also. That is content wise. For any other administrative questions, I'm sure you've met my colleagues, Joy and Marion. At some point, they have communicated with you. They're also members of the group. They'll be able to answer any questions that you have. So what we're going to do today is an introduction to AI and its tools. So keep in mind, this is an introductory class, really. Just a moment. So can you all see my screen?
Yes.
So you should be able to download our resources to use at your own private time. And of course, after all this, you have access to the resources, I think up to 6 months, if I'm not wrong. So the portal will still be open for your private use to feel free to go over the things that we're going to do together. So without further ado, let's start. So today's lesson will be covering just an introduction as to what AI is and to try to gauge our understanding of AI to differentiate it from all other models out there. The difference between AI and machine learning also, we'll try and cover that in as much depth as we can. So speaking of AI, perfect. So speaking of AI, I'm sure currently you've all interacted with the AI at some point. This includes chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. You have artificial intelligence, these large language models. Some of them actually uh, appear twice in each category. For example, ChatGPT is your regular chatbot, and at the same time, depending on how you use it, it's also a large language model. And when it comes to AI, so we have your chatbots, which have artificial intelligence. Then we have artificial intelligence, which are these AIs that you actually can't interact with, but they do give you an output. An example will be, I don't know if when you use YouTube, you're able to get a transcript. There's this plugin, it's some form of artificial intelligence. You can't talk to it. However, after the end of a video, it gives you a transcript of what the video is about and the summary. So that will be an example of what an artificial intelligence is. A chatbot, basically, with artificial intelligence, is something that you actually talk to and it answers back depending on the context. So what are chatbots? So basically, a chatbot is an application that will mimic a human conversation. It mimics humans' conversations as close as possible. So if you've interacted with ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, this will be an AI chatbot. It is able to understand the questions that you ask it, and it's able to deliver certain tasks that you ask of it. Also, it generates answers that resemble a human response. So it is something that you can actually ask a question of, and it replies to you as a human would. So that is basically what an AI chatbot is. And it functions based on prompts. So the question that you ask it in this field, we call it a prompt, not really a question. So that is the, what do we call it, the vocabulary. So if you're asking an AI a question, you're asking it a prompt. So applications of AI chatbots, they are used every day in businesses, education, for entertainment. It is used for organizational work, administrative work, in finance, in accounting, content generation, in automation, translation. Basically, there is.
Excuse me, sorry, Ronald.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
if your slides are moving
Well,
from
you
your
can't
end
see
or your
my.
volume.
Yeah. Let me just share my screen again one more
Okay.
time. This is better. You can now see it, right?
Yeah, visible. Thank you.
So let me go to the next one and tell me if it moves. Yeah, does it move? It's okay.
Yes, it's
Right.
okay.
Okay. So we are going to cover most of these chatbots on a one-by-one basis. At this point, now feel free to answer any questions, especially a part of interest might be free and paid versions of the AI models that we generally use. So we have ChatGPT, which is a large language model. It is trained for a conversational interaction, and it was created by OpenAI. You have your free and paid versions. Of course, each has its own benefits depending on what you use. Uh, and as we have said before, it answers questions, solves tasks, and even writes codes for you if you're a coder. Uh, does images and content creation and image searches. So, and there was even an update, I think, was it a week ago, where if you're in ChatGPT, you're actually able to connect it directly to an application such that it loads the application into the AI. Let me show you what this will look like. Just a moment. Let me navigate to that place. So for example, here you have your ChatGPT. So what you'd say is you start with the name of the app. And as you can see, just maximize my screen. As you can see, it pops up with this logo here. That means it has already connected to the app. So of course you need to be logged into the app on your laptop, and then you can ask it, give me laptop and R&B playlist 2010, or curate one for me. So, well, I'm not logged in, so it's not really going to. I don't have Spotify on my machine, so it's not going to load anything. But if you do, you'll be able to see some results, and actually it connects to Spotify and brings the results into the model itself. So this is available in both the free and the paid versions. And it's not only Spotify, you have various apps. I think there's also booking.com, where if you are going for a trip, you can book, and many more, which we'll go through together later on. So you're also able to connect your apps to your language models that you currently have. This is a feature that is only in ChatGPT at the moment, and it's quite intuitive and very interesting when you try and explore with it. So the floor is open for questions. So any questions still now? Okay, let's carry on. So with ChatGPT, you're able to ask it prompts, and it's able to connect to the internet in real time. For example, you can even give it a link for it to access, as long as there are no blockers that limit it. And it's able to scrape knowledge from what you give it and give you appropriate replies. So instead of, we'll cover this in our next class, which is basics of prompt engineering. This is when you actually get to use proper prompts to get proper good results. And these prompts, there is a normal way you'd ask a question. For example, give me popular Asian dishes, as you can see here, and it gives you this. So that's a good prompt. However, you can go further to give it maybe a page where maybe a Wikipedia page where there are a lot of Asian dishes recipes, and you tell it, get the Asian dishes from this site, summarize it, and give it to me in a table format. So we'll go over that in our next class, but that is something ChatGPT is able to do. So apart from ChatGPT, we have other alternatives. We have Claude, Gemini, Copilot, Perplexity, Mistral. You have Grok, which is on Twitter, and you also have DeepSeek, which is a stiff competitor with ChatGPT, especially since DeepSeek is just as good, but it has the added advantage of being free. So with that, I'd like to know how many people here have actually used AI for one reason or another. Most likely ChatGPT, Copilot, or any other AI model. Feel free to unmute, and maybe you can give examples of where you've used an AI and which one you've used.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
Okay, for me, I've used ChatGPT.
Mhm,
It has become like my therapist.
mhm.
Yeah.
That's perfect. So you talk to it on a social context.
Yeah, on a social context
Mhm,
and even my lifestyle
mhm,
and the way I can reach my goals.
mhm.
So it gives me what do you call them? Oh God.
Milestones.
Yeah. So okay, it
Mhm,
gives me like detailed breakdowns
mhm.
of what I should do to get to my goals.
That's a very perfect way of using ChatGPT. Actually, most people do use it like that. Personally, I also, on a social context, I use it in the same way. Anyone else? Which model have you used, and what have you used it for? Have you used it for work? Have you used it personally? Yes, Jared.
Yeah, so me so far, the chat box that I've used is called Question AI. That is for classwork.
And how do you find the replies? Are they accurate?
So far, the Question AI the chat box called Question AI that I was using,
Mhm,
in theories, it is very accurate in theories, but when it comes to calculations,
mhm,
sometimes it gives you the correct answers, and sometimes inakupea some answers zenye ziko na errors.
mhm,
Yeah, so if you do deep follow up, you will
mhm.
get that there is somewhere that it went wrong with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. Actually, it's also a good thing that you mentioned that as much as you use AI to do something, you have to have some basic knowledge of what to expect, because sometimes AI can hallucinate, and if you have no idea at all of the task itself, you'd pick up that answer and take it somewhere without questioning the results. So whenever you're using AI, it's not 100% yet. I don't think there's an AI that is. So if you have a bit of background information or industry knowledge or domain knowledge of what you're doing, you're able to actually supervise and validate the answers that it gives you. So that's a good catch, Jared. Anyone else?
Okay. I'm Ongori.
Mhm, Yes,
Yeah,
Otoro.
yeah, I've been using Copilot
Uh-huh.
in report writing
Uh-huh.
and also some little research. So
Uh-huh.
it always gives also the reference point where it has given where the answers come from. It moves
Uh-huh.
on the link from the website.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Copilot is actually good at that because it has a direct plug into the internet.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So that's a good way to use it. So some AIs, like I'd say maybe Claude, uh, may not have that functionality. So it tends, if you use it extensively, if you're using the free version, it tends to start hallucinating because it doesn't get its references online. What do we say? It generates references if you use it extensively, if you're going to do deep research. Yes, Ogwayo, I saw that you had raised your hand.
Hi.
Hi.
I use ChatGPT when I was learning coding.
Uh-huh.
There are things I didn't understand, and I would ask it to break it down for me like a 2-year-old, and
Uh-huh.
it used to help so much.
Uh-huh.
And I also use it for emails at work. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yes, that's another way to use it as a teaching instructor. I code, so I use ChatGPT a lot to understand most complex codes, even the simplest ones that I can't remember. So that is another good way of using it. And when you go into your emails, I think Outlook emails, you have a draft with Copilot. So nowadays I don't even write my emails. I just prompt it to reply to an email and I counter check it and send it. Yes, Lorraine? Lorraine, Felix? Okay, let's go back. So I'm actually really impressed that most of you have used these AI models in different capacities. So as we do this class, you'll get to explore other ways, or you can use AI, or how you can use it better for what you're currently doing. So we'll introduce many more models that we're going to cover, and you're going to see that some models are better at other things than others. So like, for example, if you want to create a deepfake video, you wouldn't go with something like DeepSeek or ChatGPT. What you'd go with is Sora AI. So that's just an example at the top of my head. So we have Claude, which is just the same as ChatGPT. It can solve problems, write code, generate text, create games, and read documents. It supports a large context up to 200 tokens. So you notice that I'm using the word tokens a lot. So what is a token? Now, imagine different AI models. Let's take, for example, ChatGPT. As much as you're using it, millions of other people are also using the same AI models. So at this very moment, I can be using ChatGPT and a million other people are also using it at the same time. But the hardware and the resources that it takes to run ChatGPT is limited. It's not unlimited. So there's only so many people it can serve and only so much it can do at its current capacity. So a token is like a unit that is assigned to a person. And with each prompt that you ask it, the token tends to run out. Think of it like an electricity token. How when you use you have tokens, prepaid tokens. The more you use electricity, the more your tokens run out. So when your tokens run out, ChatGPT or Claude or whatever AI you're using will tell you that next time you're going to be able to access the model will be maybe 4 or 5 hours. from now, especially if you're using the free versions. The tokens allocated are quite little, and sometimes most of these models, they don't show you where the token are. I think Gemini does. So with each prompt you ask it, it tells you how many tokens you have left. So if you move to paid version, the number of tokens you're using are going to be the number of tokens allocated to you are going to be a lot. So you're able to do more complicated prompts, and the tokens are valued differently. A more complicated prompt will take up more tokens. So if you use up your tokens, you have to wait until they're replenished, and it will actually tell you when you can log in back. Has anyone experienced such a thing where you're using ChatGPT and all of a sudden it tells you you've maxed out your uses and you have to wait for a few hours? Anyone? Yeah, I see there are people who have actually experienced that. Yes, Brian, I see you have a question.
Sorry, it's not a question. I've
Oh,
also experienced
you've well experienced that.
it.
Okay. So different models allocate different tokens. I'd say if you actually want to analyze text or a book or something of that sort, I'd suggest you use Claude. Claude is better at it, and it gives you more tokens for your value. So it can analyze extensive documents up to 500 pages. So you'd notice that there will be a difference if you're using Claude and ChatGPT to do the same thing in relation to analyzing documents. For those who do a lot of writing or a lot of research, you have a book, 200 pages, a source of 200 pages, and you can't go through everything. You need this summarized in point format. You need the important aspects laid out, and many other parameters. You go to Claude. It's able to do this much, much, much better than the free version of ChatGPT. All right. So we have Gemini, very much like ChatGPT. This was developed by Google. There you have also your free and paid version. Does exactly the same thing as ChatGPT, but over time it has been proven to be less powerful than ChatGPT or Claude. But it gives you a lot of tokens, which is at the context of 1 million. As we saw, Claude gives you 200,000 tokens, and it is actually integrated into Google Workplace. For those who use Google Apps, you'd be able to come across Gemini at some point. So we have so far we've covered ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and then you have Copilot. So Copilot, I'm sure most of you also know this one. It's what is in Microsoft at their search bar. You also have it there. And if you're using a laptop, it should be here. Let me see if I have it. Should be right here at the bottom. So I've never actually opened it from here, but so this is what Copilot looks like if you're actually opening it from your machine, and it's able to connect to most apps in your laptop, which includes Microsoft Office, the Edge browser, and many more. It's able to keep up a history of your calendar and all that. So it depends on how you're actually going to interact with it. So you have Claude, Copilot. So as I said, it is integrated into Microsoft 365. So if you work a lot with the Microsoft packages, that includes Word or PowerPoint, Copilot is actually a very good friend of yours. It's really good at what it does. and the recommendations most of the time are usually spot on. It can help you in creating your slides. It can help you in creating your calendar. It can help you in your right now AI is integrated into Excel. It can help you with your calculations. It can help you with so much more within the 365 environment. So now we have another one, Perplexity, which searches for answers on the internet. I've not really used this one myself. Has anyone ever used Perplexity before? Anyone? I see. Caroline, you use Perplexity. What is your experience with it?
Okay, Perplexity is much detailed.
Mm-hmm.
If you are looking for a location,
Mm-hmm.
it lets you do it lets you do a follow-up
Mm-hmm.
until you get satisfied in whatever you are searching.
That's a good one. I'll try it myself. There are so many language models out there. Sometimes you never get to use or maximize one. So I'll try this myself and see how better it does. So it can explore a given topic on the internet without hallucinations, which is actually a very good thing because most language models I've interacted with personally have a lot of hallucinations. And at some point, ChatGPT was one, Grok is another. You always have to counter check the information, especially if you're dealing with a lot of content. It tends to start hallucinating because it can't digest what you're trying to give it. So it makes a lot of mistakes along the line. So you have Grok. I'm sure most of you have seen this on X. So this is also another good one. It can generate text, images, it can analyze profiles, posts, and files. It focuses on helpful answers, also often with an outside perspective. So I see a lot of people use this to collect information or validate reports that are coming in the age of fake media and fake news. Sometimes you need a helper like Grok. However, when it comes to AI, especially when it comes to dissemination of information, especially news, I'd advise don't go all the way in AI to get what you want. To validate proper news, of course, you have to do your own research as well, because these AI models at the moment also tend to have a lot of hallucinations. So if you depend solely on AI to give you answers, especially, and in this case, I'm looking at Grok. If you're relying on it to give you answers on X, also just do your own research, because it's just going to collect answers from what other people have said. But at the end of the day, nothing beats human research. So you have DeepSeek, which was created by a Chinese company. It's an open source version for researchers. However, it is highly censored, of course, because you know where it comes from. It comes from China. It's definitely going to be censored, and it tends to give you wrong information, wrong in the way that it gives you information from the perspective of China-centered politics. That's if you're asking it such questions. Maybe you're going into research about human rights in Asia or something of the sort. It will tell you Taiwan is not a country and all that. So you have to be careful on what you're using it for, but it is really good on other things like coding, analysis, text generation, analyzing documents. It's really good at that, and it's free at the moment. Sometimes it's even faster than ChatGPT. So you have Mistral AI, which is trained for dialogue. It was founded by the researchers of DeepMind and Meta. I haven't used this, but I know it's also very good. It's also supported by Microsoft. The main activity of Mistral is for use of development of other models with open and commercial code. So this one is a little bit more, let's say, complex. This is more on the tech side of things. So let's take a short break, and within this short break, I'd like to take questions. What time is it? It's 9:10, so 9:20 we should be back, but I'm here if anyone has any questions. Now is the time to ask. So far from what you've covered, or any concerns you might have outside this class, feel free to unmute.
Hi, I'm Lorraine.
How are you, Lauren?
I'm good. Okay, I wanted to know the class schedule. Like when and when are we going to be learning? And are we going to be getting like that recording you guys do for after classes? Like in case anyone missed something, they can go back and check for it.
Oh yeah, actually that is a very good question. I don't think I'd covered this when I started the lecture. So Lauren, so you have access to this site, right? The SoftUni Global site. Do you have access to this?
The one that told me to sign in when I got in.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
one.
Microsoft something? Yeah.
This one, not Microsoft, but SoftUni Global. So let me just log out so that you can see how it actually looks like. So this site here, when you come to SoftUni Global and you log in, so when you're here, when you look at this box here, my schedule, it tells you the classes that you're going to have and when you're going to have them. For example, the class that we are currently doing is this one, Introduction to AI. And you can see the time information here is on 14th October from 8:30 to 10. So the next class is on 16th. That should be on a Thursday, 8:30 to 10. After that, we have the next class on 21st, so on and so forth. So this is where you'll be seeing the lesson plan. And about resources, you click on my trainings, the training that you've signed up for. So in this case, AI Basics. When you go to, you'll come to such a page. And for example, the class that you're having today. So after today, this is a recorded session. I will upload this class here and you should be able to see it here by latest tomorrow 10 a.m. Should be able to see the class here as a resource. So here is where all your resources are going to be, including the meeting link for the next class, including the PowerPoint that I'm actually using right now, and also a PowerPoint for exercises that you can do at your own discretion or at your own time. And as you can see here, it also tells you the lesson plan on what we are going to cover today. Have I answered your question, Lauren?
Yeah, thank you. Okay, another question.
Mm-hmm.
At any point, like after we cover like all the tools in AI, at any point can one specialize with one or like two and just focus on them? Or you just cover the general thing?
So actually, at the end of this, you'll know what I'll be emphasizing during the class is actually to specialize on a tool if you're interested to go in a certain direction. So this class basically is to tell you to bring to light other tools that exist. So for example, if you're a content creator, this is a tool that will see the tools that are used for content creation. And from the notes, you'll actually be able to tell which tool is the best for content creation or for a particular purpose. So throughout the class, the 2-week session, you'll be able to see different tools, and you'll be able to see what the tools can be used for and the best tools for certain jobs. So this is a more of a general class. However, now when it comes to settling
Okay,
on a
thank you.
specific tool, we have the fundamental classes which teach specific skills. So if you're going into content creation, there's a class for that, and we'll use specific tools for that class. Now it won't be general, it will be narrowed down. Have I answered your question, Lauren? Okay, any other questions, anyone?
Oh, thank you. Okay, another one. I was going on asking that question.
It's okay,
Okay,
just ask.
you say
Yeah.
like we are with you like for 2 weeks and something like that. So if one wants to major with a specific one, do you have other trainers or do you train personally or something like that?
If you want to major on a, so this class, the way they are structured, they're not tool-based, they are skill-based. So what I mean is we have this AI basics. So if you want to focus on a specific tool, it will be towards a specific goal in mind. So if you want to focus, let's say, on that ChatGPT because you want to do data analysis, there's a class for data analysis with ChatGPT. If you want to focus on education, maybe, or business, if you run a business and you want to integrate AI into your business and use some automation, there are classes for AI in business and AI in automation. And in those classes, we focus on specific tools now to be used. So the class are skill-based, not tool-based. So first will be the skill that you choose, and under that skill-based will be that specific tool. It's not the other way around. Does this clarify a few things?
Yes, thank you.
No, welcome, Lauren. So feel free to ask any other question that you have. Yes, Caroline? Caroline, you have a question?
Yeah. Are you
Mhm.
hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you
Okay.
now.
Okay. Is it advisable to subscribe for the Chat GPT and to pay for it? And the second question is, okay, after we finish the classes, will there be any certificate issued? Those are my two questions. And then I'm still thinking about more questions to come.
Okay. So I'll start with the question 2. Yes, after finishing the classes, there's a certificate to be issued, but you have to do an exam and pass the exam. If you don't pass, there's an opportunity for a retake. It's an open book exam, so nothing to be afraid of. So after the exam, you get your certificate. And on the first one, on paying for ChatGPT. So for these classes, you can use the free version. In fact, for most cases, I advise just use the free version, unless you're using AI in a daily basis in a more complex context, then you get to pay for the models. But if you're just using it for daily things and it doesn't need, you're not using it a lot, or you're not giving it complex tasks, so you're not, something like that, don't pay. Just use the free versions of everything. When you run out of tokens on ChatGPT, go to Claude. When you run out of tokens there, you can move to Gemini. From Gemini, you can move to Microsoft Copilot. So they all have free versions. So I'd say maximize your usage of a free version to the utmost point as possible. You only use paid if now you're using it for more complex situations and you're using it for longer. Maybe let's say content creation, you have to use the paid version, because if you use the free version, it gives you a 10-second video and tells you come back 4 hours later. Have I answered your questions, Caroline? Caroline, are you with us?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You have answered my questions.
Okay. So let's go back to the class. So we're going to learn about, now in this next session, we are going to understand what is AI and what is machine learning. I'm sure you've heard this a lot. So machine learning is the backbone of AI. AI was built on machine learning. Machine learning is basically a lot of math algorithms that are trained on data sets, and you bundle this up in such a way that you're able to, I'd say, present a user interface so that someone can interact with it. Now it becomes an AI, but all AI models start from machine learning. So how machine learning works is, I don't know whether I should get into the technical aspects of it, but basically you have algorithms in code, or mathematical models also in code. You make them consume data and they learn from the data. So 100% of everyone in this class has done machine learning, but you don't know that it was machine learning. So basically machine learning at the most basic aspect of it is linear. It's called, what was it called in mathematics? We did it in high school, also in primary, something like linear regression, or you remember that, the graph and that line that goes upwards. Can someone remind me? Was it linear regression or something like that? Do you remember that? Do you remember such a thing in mathematics, high school or campus, where you did something called linear regression? Also, yeah, Brian, you do. Yeah. Yeah. See, for example, in business, you'd have a demand and supply curve, and then you have that line that goes a certain way. So the way demand and supply works is the higher the demand, the higher the supply. But how do you know that? You know that because you had an Excel sheet, or you had some data where you have the column for year, you have the column for demand, you have the column for supply. So you plot that graph, and you'll notice as you're plotting it, the higher the demand rises, the higher the supply rises. So this is very manual, but as you're doing that, that is basically what machine learning is, where you have your data set, and using that demand and supply curve, you're actually able to extrapolate and predict what is going to happen next. So if you did business in high school, there was a formula where you'd sit down and say, okay, I have data up to 2024. I want to predict what is going to happen in 2025. So you draw the graph, and using some certain mathematical formulas, which was y is equals to mx, mc is equals to x, or something of the sort. And when you plot that and you put the year inside there, it tells you, okay, in 2025, this is what to expect. So that is machine learning. Any questions? Nisikuwe nimewapeleka way back kwa hizo hesabu ngumu ngumu. Kuna mtu ako na swali? Yes, Ogada?
Hi.
Hi.
So with machine learning, does it mean that you can use it to predict maybe outcomes out of 32? If you have a data with 26, does it mean you can use machine learning to predict outcome?
Yes, exactly. You can use machine learning to predict outcomes. Forget even the AI for a moment and all that and the chat GPTs. When you're doing machine learning, it's exactly what I've described, where you have your year, demand, and supply. So you're able to predict what is going to happen in the future. But the only difference between the calculation that I'm telling you, where you do it manually, and the machine learning, where you're doing it using code, is that it's able to take hundreds and thousands and millions of rows to give you a better prediction. Whereas as a human being, you have your limitations. You're able to calculate up to a certain point, and above that, your calculator and your Excel sheets are not really going to cut it. So when it comes to machine learning, the more quality data you get, the better the prediction. So it's able to tell you what's going to happen 6 years from now if you have data from 30 years ago. So for example, if you are majoring in finance, you have data, the CBK, it goes up to the 1990s. So if you want to predict inflation rates in the next 4 or 5 months, this is something you're actually able to do by using that simple primary mathematics. So I think it was in high school. And to draw that graph, use the mathematical formula and do that. But of course, you're going to use code to do that. So machine learning is able to predict the future. So AI is built on machine learning. And yes, Ogada.
Thank you. Thank you.
So as we talk about machine learning and how it relates to AI, so in machine learning, there are mathematical formulas or algorithms that are predictive. But at the same time, there is also those that are analytic based. There is also those that are, we call them, they're able to segment data into groups by learning certain patterns, basically all mathematics. So you see something like ChatGPT, it's not a predictive model. And even if it does predict, it's going to be mostly wrong. It can't tell you what is going to happen in the future. That is because the machine learning algorithm that is used for ChatGPT is not meant to predict. It's best at analyzing. It's best at segmenting. It is best at certain things and not good at others. So far, there is no model that is able to predict the future on its own. It needs a human counterpart to direct it to that direction. So if you're talking about predictions, you go with machine learning and not AI, and use a different model for that. I hope it hasn't gotten a bit technical. I want to try and avoid that as much as possible. So on AI, so this will be an intelligent computer system which performs tasks requiring human intelligence, but the backbone of this is machine learning. So not all machine learning models are used for AIs. There are different machine learning mathematical models for different problems. Sometimes you can even come up with your own. So for example, would be if you have data from a supermarket, very personal data from a supermarket on who buys who, using a machine learning mathematical model, you're able to give it that data. It learns from that data and it puts consumers in certain groups so that you're able to market your products to the right groups. Instead of sending, let's say if you're sending prompt messages, instead of sending it to everyone at the same time, if you do it in a machine learning with a machine learning model, you're able to send the right message to the right person 90 or 70% of the time. based on the kind of mathematical model you're using, but AI can't do that yet. You can make it do that if you understand how mathematical models work, but speaking of a prompt, when you come to prompt basis, I can't give AI that same data and tell it to group this without actually giving it clear instructions on to how I want it done. Any questions? I hope I haven't gotten too technical with this. Any questions? Okay, so what do AI models solve? They're able to process and categorize information. By categorize information, I mean information which is text, images, and video. They're able to predict information. By predicting, I mean generate text, images, sound, video, DNA sequences, and the like. So note that these terms mean different things when it comes to machine learning, because when you say predict information, and this is basically text or message, it thinks of what you want to say next, but you can't tell it to look at some data and tell you what is going to happen 5 years based on that data. It doesn't have that capability to do that on its own. This is something you can do in machine learning. It's able to recognize voice or text. It's able to synthesize voice and video from text, do recommendations, and answer questions. So actually, just remembered an example will be, you have used YouTube for a very long time, even before ChatGPT, even before the first AI models. But one thing you noticed with YouTube is when you logged in into your homepage on YouTube, the first suggestions or the videos that you see on your homepage are basically the videos that you usually watch or actually interest you. So how did it know that? Does anyone want to take a guess? And this was actually before ChatGPT and all this AI stuff. And that is on, I think, YouTube, sometimes even Google itself. Does anyone want to take a guess on how it used to do that?
Search engine AI.
Sorry? Atieno, I think you said something.
By using cookies.
That's one, by using cookies. That is one of the many ways it used to do that. And another will be, we have actually covered it right now, will be machine learning. Remember I said machine learning is the backbone of AI. Maybe I didn't mention machine learning is something that has existed, I can say, for many years. I can't know when it first started, but this is something that has existed maybe even since the 40s or 50s. So what it actually uses is it observes your behavior, the videos that you watch, the pages that you visit using cookies, and all that, collects that information, comes up with that. You remember the graph that I talked about, maybe linear regression, and it says, okay, so based on this, I'm able to predict the next time this person logs in, because every time they have logged in, the first video, maybe 10 times, how can I say it? 8 times out of 10, this person A has logged into YouTube. The first video they always watch is maybe a video from Mwafrika Ikonini podcast or something like that. So the next time you're going to log in, you'll find that actually that is the first video that you see there, because it collects that information and tries to predict what you're going to do next. So if 8 out of 10 times you've accessed a certain page, most likely the next time you log in, you'll find recommendations at the top of that list from that page, so on and so forth. So this includes your taste in music, the kind of music that you listen to. If you listen to jazz, if you listen to blues and R&B and all that. So if that is what you majorly listen to, you go to your YouTube playlists, you'll find that the first suggestions that you're being given are what you actually like to listen to. So this is not AI. This is now machine learning, where it learns your habits and tries to predict what you're going to do next. Okay. So so we have something called a neural network. So what is a neural network? Remember I said machine learning. So under machine learning, there is a neural network. So this neural network is mathematical formulas that have been organized in such a way that they think, they work like a human brain. So how does it do that? So most AIs are trained on neural networks. So how this happens is you have something called, you can see this image here on the right. So this is also a bit more technical, where you have the information, you want it analyzed. So it goes through various steps, and the information is weeded out until only one node or only one kind of information is left for you to consume. So this is what most AI models use, because now this is you'd say, this is almost the best perfect system for machine learning, especially if you are going through large sets of data. This helps reduce noise and all that to give you a singular kind of answer. So this is called a neural network integrated into most AI models that we use. You also have a deep neural network, which is just the same, but much more complex. So an example of how neural network works will be, I have 100 pictures of cats and one picture of a dog. So I feed this to the neural network so that it can learn how to identify the dog. So you start with the first step, you add more steps again and again, maybe it's going to get it wrong. But the more you tweak your mathematics or your parameters, it's going to narrow down on what's a cat and what's a dog. Then you can continue increasing the nature of the images, the dogs and the cats, maybe in doing different things. So when it does, there's something, when it picks a wrong answer, you do something. It's like, I've forgotten the name, but it's like punishing the model for doing something wrong. So when you pick a wrong answer, it punishes the model and tells it, it penalizes the model and tells it, no, that's not right. That's a cat, not a dog. Goes back to step one, does it again, gets it right, like that, like that, like that. So you imagine something like this is actually going to be quite expensive, costly. It needs a lot of hardware, needs a lot of electricity and cooling systems before it actually learns how to recognize images. That gives you an idea of the kind of investment these people, and this is just a simple example. So imagine learning millions of different images on what they are, animals, vehicles, and all that. So imagine trying to learn all that. So it takes a lot of time and investment for it to get to the point of perfection. So you use something called a deep neural network for such information. Any questions? So do you have like a vague understanding on how now these AI models work? Forget about for now what they do, but how they work. Yeah, good. All right, so you have the So here you have the history of AI from 1950s to 2022. Yes, Brian? Do you have a question? Okay. So basically, the era of large generative AI models started in 2020, but before then, a lot had been done to try to bring it to this level. And maybe you can say in the past, the issue was that the technology, they had the vision, but lacked the technology to achieve it. So as technology got better, the dream came much more closer. And this happened in 2020, where we had the first large generative AI models, which will be Chat GPT, but this is a project that started long before that. And as technology changed and improved, processors got smaller, we got more powerful processors, how to generate electricity, you have they got more efficient ways to do that because this uses a lot of electricity to train, uses a lot of water, use a lot of cooling systems. So as this changed from the 1950s to 2020, they kept improving on that because you cannot have AI with the right hardware. So we are here in the future, and as you can see, how many AI models have propped up. So types of artificial intelligence, we have something called a narrow AI. This solves a specific task. For example, you have an AI that can drive a car. I assume if you're driving something like a Tesla, it will be driven by an AI, but that AI is only good at driving a car and you can't use it for anything else. You have those for general intelligence. These are trained on everything. They have universal knowledge, so that will be like ChatGPT, where you can ask it absolutely anything and no day will it tell you that it does not have knowledge on that subject matter. And then you have super intelligence. This is AI that is superior to human beings, which this has not been developed. And you have yourself aware AI, which also has not been developed. However, I do have a question. Why we say that an AI, an artificial super intelligence, which is superior to humans in all tasks, has not been developed? Why do you think that is? What is the one thing that human beings have that AI does not, that makes the last two almost impossible at the moment? Yes, Caroline?
Emotions.
Yes, Caroline? Yes, number one is emotions.
Hello,
Hello, yes.
intuition.
Intuition. You said intuition.
Yes.
Yes, it's another good one. And there's one main one that AI can't do yet. If you've used
Creativity.
creativity, that's another one. Anyone else would like to try?
Hello.
Hello?
Empathy.
Empathy. That's another one. I can give you.
Hi.
Hello? Yeah.
It can't do like the manual work. It can't replace a human in manual work or something like that.
Yeah,
There's
it
some
can't.
skills that it can't do for yeah.
Yeah. That is happening gradually, but it can't replace a human in manual work yet. There are different AI models that are being used for surgical operations and maybe farming, but beyond that, they're not able to do much really when it comes to replacing a human. Yes.
human brain knowledge.
Self-awareness also.
Yes. It's hard to code that into an AI. And the most major one, let me give you maybe I can give you a hint, is the first atomic bomb. Assuming you had ChatGPT at that time, before the bomb was actually invented, and you asked it, if you're an experienced engineer or physicist, and you actually asked it, hi, I want to create something that is going to for lack of a better term, that is going to destroy thousands of acres of land, and something of that magnitude. What do you think it would answer? Assuming atomic bombs have not been created at that moment, but you do have your regular explosions. So in that context, what do you think ChatGPT would actually give you as an answer?
It might say it does not have any knowledge previously. Yeah,
exactly. So the one difference between a human being and an AI that makes it almost impossible for AI to surpass us is that artificial intelligence cannot come up with a new idea. Let me repeat again. Artificial intelligence can never come up at this point in time, cannot come up with a new idea. So given the information that you already have, you even as a person, as you sit down and you try maybe to say you want to think of a business that you want to do, you can come up as a human being with a completely unique idea on a business that no one has thought of, depending on where you live. But if no matter how much you prompt an AI, it can't come up with a completely new concept that you've never heard of. Anything that it comes up with is something that it has learned online or from humans of the past or from the information that it currently has. But to make it to use that information to come up with something new that is unseen is not possible. But it's possible for you to do that. You can use information that you already know to come up with a completely new concept. So back to the question of the instance of the atomic bomb. If somebody has prompted ChatGPT, it will basically give it the same answers for what exists or for what already exists, but only a human being could sit down and think, okay, I'm not sure how I'm not sure how it works, but somebody will come down, somebody sat down and said, hey, what if we separate two atoms and release the energy within that atom to create this atomic bomb that destroys everything? Only a human could come up with that. You see, that is a new idea that has not been thought of, but AI can. So that day, the moment that an AI comes up with a completely new idea that is not in textbooks or is not online, that is the moment you'll know we have reached AI super intelligence. Have I explained it well? I repeat again? Yes, Jared. Yeah. So at the moment, that is what differentiates us from AI, is that human beings are capable of coming up with new ideas. And I say that because, for example, yes, I see someone has a question. Jared, you have a question? Okay. So human beings came up with AI. I'm sure even AI couldn't come up with AI. So that's one way to think of it. So always, whenever you are dealing with an AI model, always remember you are superior to the AI in all tasks. As much as it can do all these things, at the end of the day, if you actually sat down, now speaking as a techie, sometimes AI will give me a code. But if I actually sat down, used my creativity, used my knowledge and wrote down the same code, but a little bit differently to make it as efficient as possible, only I can think of that, but AI can't think of that. So it can't yet combine its knowledge and come up with new concepts or new way of doing things or better way of doing things without you pushing it and directing it to that direction. So the moment it starts to do that, then we have hit artificial superintelligence, but that is a long way from now. So this is a prediction. I don't know how true it is, but God willing, we are going to live long to see this, if this actually happens. We are here in 2025. So AI is at the level of humans for certain tasks, but it is not beyond us. Human being can drive better than AI. I can promise you that. You can think better. You can do so many things better than AI. Artificial general intelligence is this will be from 2028 to 2029, but we'll be alive then to see if that is going to happen. Now 2045 is when we're going to hit artificial superintelligence. Yeah, I don't know how most of you feel about that, but we are going to be alive, God willing, to see that happen. That come to pass. But it's good you're taking this course, because if anything, I hope this course piques your interest into AI, so that this becomes something that you use every day. You make use of it and you know how it is used. By the time the years have passed, if they're millennials here or older generation, AI haiwezi kukushinda no matter what form it takes. You'll know how to use it and you'll be better at using it. This is something you can actually use to make you money. So, for example, we have AI that is used for automation. So in the last 2 years, this has come a long way. And I see people online actually creating these automation bots that you can sell and make money off of it. So this is something we learn in the AI for automation class. How you can, for example, use AI to automate a certain task. Let's say if you're receiving documents on Outlook or a certain email, like maybe say Gmail, and you want to download these documents and put them in certain folders automatically. So you can plug in an AI, train it to do that task where it goes through your emails, picks the documents, downloads them, and categorizes them in different folders in your desktop. So this is something you'll be able to do. So, and many more uses for AI. So this class is just to pick your interest and let you know what is out there. So I believe we have gone over generative artificial intelligence, which is basically ChatGPT. It generates images, texts, and video based on requests, which we call prompts. So they're able to use many languages. Sometimes they have limitations to that. They're able to do translations and based on and they're also limited to certain parameters like the tokens that we talked before. So this is still on the language models. They generate text based on data sets that you give it. And they are trained on these data sets that are available online. Sometimes companies sell our data to these language models, which is something very illegal. They shouldn't do. And they learn from it. And for example, if you've been using ChatGPT for a while now, if you use it consistently and you just open a new chat and you ask it something about yourself, you'll notice that it's able to tell you all that because you're feeding it information and it is learning from that. It's learning to start to know you better. So this will be like a Microsoft Copilot, which is also one of that. And you'll notice the more you start to use ChatGPT, it starts to sound more like how you want it to sound. So this is extremely beneficial, especially if you're a researcher and you deal with a lot of maybe online writing. So the more you're using that ChatGPT of yours, the more you'll notice the more it gives you good content. So it does not forget, it stores this history, learns from it, learns from the prompts that you've given it in the past to give you to generate better answers. So you have chatbots which answer questions. This will be like if you're logging into the website of your bank. There at the bottom left, you'll see a chatbot. You ask it something, it gives you a question and maybe even contacts some assistants. You have voice assistants. I think this has been there for a while where it tells you press 1 to do this. When you press 1, you go to the next step. You have expert systems, which they learn knowledge in a specific field to provide solutions and predictions. So by predictions, I don't mean future predictions. By predictions, I mean, for example, if you give it an MRI, it's able to tell you that this person might have a tumor before a doctor can notice it. This is because it has learned from we talked about deep neural network. That is because where you take images and you feed millions of images for the AI to learn what is what. So it's able to predict in that aspect based on that knowledge. It's tell you that the way this scan looks like, this person might have brain cancer, and it gives you the percentage. It's called the confidence level of its prediction. You have robotics. This is AI for controlling and automating physical labor. I'm sure this is used a lot in farms. People started using it for surgeries, though very risky, and maybe other industries where you don't need complex movements. Factories, yes. You can use AI in various industries, in marketing, design, finance, in healthcare, in logistics and deliveries. Sorry, I'm rushing through. It's because our time is almost up. But this lesson will be available, and feel free to go through this PowerPoint presentation where everything we have discussed is going to be here. So you can use AI in small businesses. It can generate a brand name, logo, content, a brochure, or ideas based on how you prompt it, which you're going to learn in the next class. We're going to cover basics of a good prompt. So there, of course, there are limitations of how you limitations of AI use. One will be in the job market. So how AI impacts the job market is because you see a lot of people are being fired because they're being replaced by AI. 10 years ago, you wouldn't think that is possible, but that has become our new reality at the moment, where AI is automating most of the tasks that a human being can do, and you find that some professions have started to disappear. So one thing AI also has as a limitation is called bias. So based on the information it was trained, AI will answer questions differently. For example, I think 2 months ago, Grok was hating on Jews, was hating on the Jewish community because the Jewish community were doing some things online, and Grok actually learned from that. It learned on content where the Jewish community were being bashed for one thing or another. So eventually what happened is if you asked it anything to do with a Jew or an Israelite, you'd see the answer it gives you, very biased. AI is not supposed to do that, but that is a risk. Anytime out there that you're actually training an AI model, there's always a risk that the content you're going to give it is going to be very biased towards a certain side. So just know that your AI, whenever it answers questions, it's going to be biased based on what you've asked it. They have imperfections. One which we covered is hallucinations. I'm sure some of you have come across this, where it gives you answers that are not there, links that are not there, and it gives you wrong answers and tells you that this is correct. It's also sometimes it gives you incorrect answers. There's also censorship. You can't talk to it about everything, or certain images, very illegal stuff. You can't make it create certain things. So that's a limitation, a good one. And there's also the very possibility of leakage of personal information. This happens a lot when you're using AI. So because you're feeding it your personal information, it's also possible for that personal information to leak out into the public. And you also have copyright issues. This is based on the issues of who created what, because sometimes you find that you draw, maybe say you draw an amazing picture and you post it online. Then someone takes that picture and uses AI to make it better and repost it in a different context. So the image was originally yours, but AI was able to take this and make something out of it. So it copies your work, hence the copyright issues. There's also the issue of these companies stealing your data so that they can train their AIs based on this data, hence the copyright issues. Hallucinations, we have covered that. There is a censorship, data leakage. Always be careful about this because the AI has a memory. It remembers confidential information. Data leakage can happen in any way where I'm sure most of you have passwords on your WhatsApp. So in an instance where you're telling your AI some personal information, you don't have, maybe you have ChatGPT on your phone, but you don't have a password for ChatGPT. Someone can just go into ChatGPT, poses you and ask you questions about yourself if they know you've been talking about personal issues with ChatGPT. But because it has a memory, it will remember. So for example, if you needed ChatGPT to do your taxes and you uploaded your tax document so that it can calculate your pay and all that when you're filing returns, somebody can just go into your ChatGPT and ask, what did so-and-so make last year? Because it remembers, it will actually be able, sometimes it will actually be able to pull out that information and tell you this person made this last year. That is on your own personal ChatGPT. So yeah, be careful of that. Whenever you're feeding it personal information, always know there's a possibility it's going to end where it's not supposed to be, even online. Okay. So we have come to the end of the class, and I'd like to open the floor for questions before we close. So if you have any questions based on what you've covered or anything administrative, feel free to unmute and ask. Yes, Caroline.
A quick one. Do robots use AI?
Robots, some will use machine learning, others will use AI. It depends on the task it depends on how they are created. Because robots have existed before AI. You see that machine in a factory that automatically packages bread and then it sends it down the line. Like, how does it know where to start and where to finish, how to tie all that? That is machine learning. It has learned. But now driving, for example, the Tesla vehicles. So how I would say that is now AI, where it is learning from circumstances that it has not yet met. So it adapts. So robots that are made now are majorly made to use AI so that they can adapt to many different situations. Because as much as machine learning is good, it's within a box. But when it comes to AI, it's able to learn something new and adapt from that to be able to predict things better. So robots nowadays are majorly made to use AI instead of machine learning. But still, some use machine learning for their tasks. Yeah. Any other questions? Monsieur Gope, feel free to unmute before the classes get harder. So for anything that you have covered now, do you need a clarification or you're good? All right, so I think with that, we can close this class. I'll upload this where I showed you. It will be under today's topic. The video will be there. So feel free to go through the notes that we've gone through today and also to go through the work that you're supposed to cover on Thursday. Let me
Hello.
just confirm. Yes.
Hello.
Hello.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working in the area of consulting,
Mm-hmm.
then you need to do market research, market analysis and research for a customer on certain issue for social impact. Which AI is better that will give you the best analysis?
I'd go with if you want the AI to access live links or legit links from the internet, that will be Microsoft Copilot. It is it gives you, it does not hallucinate. It sticks to the information that is actually available based on the links that it is able to access. And then ChatGPT is also second best. But in the past, I've used Microsoft Copilot for that kind of tasks. So when it comes to market research, as long as it is not, there's no paywall, Microsoft Copilot will be able to give you a better result than most AI models. And it also gives you the link where it got that information from.
It's because there was a case of Deloitte in Australia. They were given a tax by a company. Then they used ChatGPT. Then later, when what they called research assistants were verifying, they realized the whole document was fake because they'd used ChatGPT alone, and they were told to refund half of the money. So I don't know.
Yeah, ChatGPT tends to do that, especially if you're going into deeper research. Never discount the human element in it. So if you're doing research using ChatGPT, one way they could have avoided that is when they were prompting ChatGPT, they should have asked ChatGPT to only use verified links and also attach the source of information. Then they should have gone to counter check every single link if it actually works. Because if you don't do that, we're going to cover that in the prompt class. If you actually don't tell it to do that, it's going to come up now, call it what, stories ajaba, and it will make it so believable that you won't know what is fact and what is fiction. So you have to make sure to prompt your questions better, give it parameters to stick to, and tell it to not come up with anything that it does not have a source to back it up to. So I imagine people who used that case, most likely what they did, they just prompted it, but they did not restrict they did not restrict the information flow. So they should have actually told it to give verified links to the information so that somebody can go through it manually. So at the end of the day, as much as you're using AI to do your market research and whatnot, you are the supervisor, you're the validator. You have to go through that and see if what it's saying is actually fact or fiction, and tell it to give you links to the information so that you can read it yourself. Yeah. Hello, Joy Grace, are you with us, Joy?
Yes, I'm around.
Yeah, I'd like to introduce Joy, one of our facilitators. I'm sure some of you have already talked to her. Maybe she can say a thing or two before we close. Hello, Joy? We can't hear you.
Hello. Sorry. You okay?
Oh, I was saying I'd like to
Oh,
introduce you
hi
as well.
everyone.
Yeah.
Sorry, Ronald.
Oh.
Hi everyone. My name is Joy. I'm the one who's sending you communication in any details in terms of WhatsApp update and email. In case of any issues, any queries, you can reach out to me, and if I cannot solve it, I will point you in the right direction. I hope you've enjoyed the class and understood the basics. We're just getting started, and I am sure things are going to get so much interesting. Personally, I'm enthusiast of artificial intelligence, and I can assure you that it gets interesting. It gets fun, especially when you start creating. So hope to see you then. That's all from me. Thank you. Ronald.
Yes, Joy.
Yes. That's all from me.
Okay. All right. So in case you have any questions, please feel free to ask us on our channel. You can also chat me or Joy if you want some personal assistance with something. We are always available, and we're here for you. So let us meet in our next class, which is on Thursday at 8:30. And now we are going to get really deep into AI as we cover prompt engineering. Make sure to create an account with ChatGPT so that we can do various exercises. See you then, and thank you for being an awesome class. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ronald.
Thank you, Joy. Thank you, everyone. All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.